Mason Baptista on with us today. Mason, a 4-year St. Norbert alum. He's a 5-year pro, and one of those years being in Europe and Germany. Currently, he's also a player coach for the Greenville Swamp Rabbits. Thanks for coming on with us.
Yeah, no, I'd love to be here and talk to you today.
And just tell us a little bit more about your hockey experiences and where you've come from.
Well, yeah, like you said, I was my alma mater is St. Norbert College. I was actually fortunate enough to win 2 national championships there. It was a great experience and learning curve that helped me when I went to pro. I played with Fort Wayne for most of my career, short stint with Wichita Thunder, and like you said, Germany was I went there for a couple months, and then this year I was a player coach at Greenville Swamp Rabbits, where I got to work with the coaches about tactics, video, and got to work more closely with players. And then I own my own business, my online business, Baps Hockey IQ business. So,
yeah, you're doing similar things and really not only are you still playing, but you're giving back to the kids, which is awesome. It's crazy to see now on the whole, I guess, coaches side for myself is how much different it is for being a coach than it is a player. I guess, you always get the understand the leadership part that it takes to talk to these kids and all that, but how much preparation and time goes into being a coach, it's crazy. You don't even know how you do it all.
Analyzing a couple clips, right? It takes forever just to cut it up, and then you have to watch it a couple times. A lot of people think that, like, as a player, when I was getting coaching, I would be like, oh, why doesn't he just send me the clips right away? It's like, well, they got to watch it over multiple times. They got to make sure they're saying the right things. They got to make sure they're not giving you the wrong cues. There's lots of things that go into it. So like 10 clips could take 2-3 hours to break down.
Absolutely. Yeah, I do online coaching myself with some of these kids. So I'm sure we both have our different ways or procedures, but yeah, it takes a long time to be able to not only get the shifts from them, to watch their shifts, take notes, make sure that they're in depth and detailed of what we're seeing, different skills, and whether it's hockey IQ or anything positionally. But then you got to present it them on the FaceTime or the video session, and that all takes so long, I find, and something new for us. And it's great to develop, because as a player myself, that's why I'm doing it. I wish I had that mentor that played to a high level, that also were good in those areas, had strengths in those areas, and just passing it on, because those little things make huge differences and different perspective for the players.
No, absolutely. And like, as you see, every player is different, and coaches can't manage every player. It's just hard. The best coaches in the game kind of can, but even in the NHL, they have like 4 or 5 coaches behind the bench, and they all have like their players they have to work with, and every player needs that individual personalized programming, and that's what you're able to do with this online stuff, and it takes a lot of time.
With your knowledge and experiences, what is one thing that you would like to discuss with the players, parents, and coaches?
The first thing I always discuss with all my players, and in my course I really focus on, is radical ownership mindset. And so what that means is taking full responsibility for all outcomes, regardless of the circumstance that happened to you, and then looking to find a solution. I find it's very easy to blame others, blame teammates, coaches, scouts, but it's very difficult to look in the mirror and be like, okay, what can I do differently? What can I do better? What could I have done to change this outcome? And it's harder, and that's typically like a good filter to know, okay, this is probably the right path. The easy path typically runs you down. It's very short-term thinking. It's not going to help you in the long run. So if you get in the habit of doing the hard things more often, in the long run, you're going to be able to be more successful, regardless if it's hockey or anything else.
Absolutely, I agree with that. Even when you're saying that type of thing, the harder things, even my dad and all these people around as you're younger, they always say, just do it harder. And a lot of that is just mental, right? Like even, I talk about on the Hockey Think Tank with Topher Scott and them and Jeff Lavecchio that going for long runs 1 hour, like that's not a real fun thing to do. Yes, it's great for us, but no one wants to just keep running and running for that. But it's very good for our cardio, but no, it's huge for our mental strength. To be able to occupy your mind and think during those, I would say it gets boring when you're running, right? So I think those are the hard times, in one of the ways I think you can relate to what you're saying.
Well, yeah, and we all do it. Like we were talking before about our own careers, like how we've had a lot of tough times, and it's very easy to get in the blame game. And I'm not like delusional. I'm not going like, oh, I'm never going to get mad at my line mate, or I'm never going to get mad at a coach. But it's like, how fast can you switch to radical ownership? And we talk about extreme, but it's like a spectrum. So we have blaming others and radical ownership, and then we want to get into the sweet spot. And we're typically over here in the blame game. So we got to swing ourselves over here, and then we can find ourselves into that sweet spot. But first, it starts the radical ownership mindset. That's how we're going to be able to take advantage of the things that we can do better and really prioritize our development.
Yeah. They always say, how big the mindset and the brain, the hockey IQ, all that is a part of hockey. And, it's probably like 95% at least, if not more.
Well, yeah, you need to put it all together, right? And the brain's what's going to do that. We've seen so many guys I talk about hardware, software comparison. We've seen the guys with the hardware. We've seen the great practice players, but we've seen the great drones. I call them drone hockey players. They just, follow orders. But at the end of the day, if you want to be an impact and be dynamic in games, you have to really step outside of that realm.
Yeah, exactly. And I call a lot of times, a lot of people is stepping outside the box, out of your comfort zone, and doing things, when someone does something very unique, you're like, whoa, and the fans are like, whoa, I've never seen that really before, or in a different way, right? Just a different way of thinking and executing.
Yeah, exactly.